I wanted to bring today's episode to the podcast talking about how to include your partner on the fertility journey. Many times, if you're dealing with low AMH and high FSH, the partner may not even know what he can do to support you. So there's always changes he can make. Or maybe you're dealing with low AMH and high FSH, plus you have male factor infertility issues. Or maybe you find yourself, the male partner has started making changes, but he's not doing it quite perfectly. You find yourself nagging him a little bit because he's forgetting things. Maybe he hasn't changed his diet. Maybe he's forgetting to take his supplements. I'm going to be doing a deep dive on all of these topics today so we can really fast track this and help improve your relationship and get you both on the same page as you prepare for your baby. So let's go. Hey there, I'm Sarah Clark, founder of Fab Fertile and your host. I believe the functional approach is the first step for anyone on the fertility journey, and my aim is to help you get pregnant naturally. Today, we're digging into why including your partner on the fertility journey sets you up for success. This episode is for you if your partner is ready to make the changes to improve fertility and pregnancy health, but he is not sure what are his next best steps. Your partner is supportive and he says he will change his diet lifestyle, but you have to remind him and you feel like you're nagging him. Your partner is dealing with male factor infertility and you have fertility issues too. The whole process seems overwhelming and you don't know where to start to make changes that positively impact female and male fertility. Thanks so much for listening. I'm so thankful that you're here. Make sure you hit subscribe. And if you know someone else who is on the fertility journey, please share this podcast with them. Okay, so today we are starting off with your partner is ready to make the changes. So he may or may not have male factor infertility. We'll start with if he doesn't have any issues with his semen analysis. So he's done the semen analysis, everything comes back normal, or maybe he hasn't done the semen analysis yet. So typically we're, as we know, as you may know, we're dealing with female factor infertility. So low AMH and high FSH, diminished ovarian reserve, premature ovarian insufficiency, and high FSH. So low AMH, high FSH, premature ovarian insufficiency, and diminished ovarian reserve. And then often, because now stats are showing us it's 50-50 for male and female fertility, and more often we're seeing both couples presenting with fertility issues. So we'll start off with the fact that it's female factor infertility, and he's ready and willing to make the changes, but he's really not quite sure what his next best steps are. So we always include a blood chemistry review for both partners, and this is not to diagnose; it's to educate. And really, we're doing a deep dive into looking at blood sugar, looking at cholesterol, looking at a full thyroid panel, including antibodies, iron, vitamin B12, glucose, and way more. So it's a very comprehensive review of blood chemistry, and it looks at the functional reference ranges. So these functional reference ranges, it just flags it earlier before it goes to disease. So many times you could be told by your conventional physician that everything is normal, which is frustrating because you're like, well, it's obviously something's happening because it's not working. So this just looks at just tighter reference ranges, flags it earlier, so then we can look at missed healing opportunities. So we start off with the blood chemistry review, and then the similar thing with the semen analysis, where maybe you've been told everything's normal in the semen analysis and things aren't working out. To say that if it's normal, that there's always problems, but many times we see things that are missed. So we're again the same lens where we're looking at the semen analysis to see, is it functionally from a functional reference ranges, which are for healthy people, is it normal? So again, we can dig a little bit deeper. And then after we do those tests, then if needed, if we see anything that's out of the ordinary, then we can make additional suggestions for functional testing. We have access to functional testing. We ship the test worldwide. And so for the male partner, we may be looking at doing food sensitivity testing for him if we see something on the blood chemistry. And also a lot of the times we see on the blood chemistry, it could indicate if there's any kind of gut infections. So if there's dysbiosis, or we see there's potentially an infection happening. And sometimes a lot of this blood chemistry tells a story, sort of what what is the blood chemistry in conjunction with the health history that can tell a story. And we're like, wait a minute, let's look at some additional testing to kind of take a very targeted approach to this. So we can do the testing. We always start the both partners with the elimination diet. And the elimination diet is you're taking out the top allergens. You can check out how and why to do the elimination diet in the podcast there. It gives you the exact steps. And essentially, you're taking out the top allergens, which are dairy, gluten, soy, corn, peanuts, eggs, and yes, alcohol for 10 days, and then systematically reintroducing those foods over the course of 30 days. You can do anything for 10 days. We see people, feeling better, losing weight. Their bloat starts to disappear, headaches, skin issues, all of these things start to improve. Again, many times people come to us, it's like they've got this diagnosis of low AMH and high FSH, but they have, they may be myopically focusing on that and not looking at the full picture of the body. And it's like, there's usually other issues, be it, there's usually other issues such as there could be skin issues such as eczema or dermatitis or acne, a history of acne. There could be issues such as mood issues, such as ADHD or depression, anxiety, brain fog. And also there could be joint issues if you have stiff joints. And also we see a lot of autoimmunity with people that are on the fertility journey. So people sort of say, oh my God, I have this. And oh, by the way, there's an autoimmune issue such as a Hashimoto's or a celiac or Crohn's or more. Those are huge clues for us to dig in deeper. And so for the male partner, then we'd be having both do the elimination diet together, both reintroducing the foods. And then we also start out with supplements. We have male and female fertility supplements. There's the Fab Fertile store is a sponsor of the podcast here, so you can check it out and use the code VIP15 to get 15% discount on the supplements. So specific supplements for male and female fertility. And then he always has his own health goals because he's ready to start, ready to get going, and he may not know what to do. So this really helps him take a very targeted approach. And even if the semen is fine, typically we haven't found that like everything's fine in the blood chemistry. There's always something to work on, to optimize your health. And in this case, optimizing your preconception health. And taking a very targeted approach. And if we see there's any missed healing opportunities, then we dig deeper with testing. He has his own health goals and his own plan, and working closely with one of our nutrition practitioners and coaches. And the next one we have is your partner is supportive, and he says he's going to be, making some of the changes, making the diet and lifestyle changes. And next thing you know, you find yourself nagging him. You're like reminding him to take his supplements. Why hasn't he changed the diet? You're over here, eating this pristine, clean diet, throwing out all the toxins, making all the changes. And you're like, what is this guy doing? And again, 99% of the people that we work with, the men are very, very supportive. And it is really important. So just encourage you to not coach your partner. If you find yourself nagging him, that's to look back on you. How do you then either fill yourself up with more self-care, more sleep, focus on the good, all the good that he's doing? Because most of the partners are making changes, but it's not about perfection, right? If you find yourself like being really restrictive, or you find yourself, if you're like me, you kind of have this like type A, like a slight controlling issue. If you feel that popping up, going, I want to control him. Why isn't he doing the plan that I say that he has to do? Why is he forgetting his supplements every day? Why does he go out for lunch and eat a burger? And why is he having beer? And then questioning all this stuff and focusing all the stuff he's not doing right. Meanwhile, he has, he's potentially made some changes in his diet. He has looked to reduce his stress. He is, a lot of the times the people are doing a lot of really good things, and we like get stuck on the things that they're not doing. So that's why having a coaching program can help you not coach your partner, because that just, even if there are, marriage, if there are marital issues, it can even make it 100 times worse. So, mostly people that we coach are, happily married, everything's fine, there's not any issues. There's, about 10% of the couples, it's like this journey is freaking tough and it can either tear you apart or pull you together. So, and to recognize that and really get support for that is key. So if you find yourself kind of in that controlling, like, what's he doing over there? He's jeopardizing everything. Just lean into that a little bit. Go, wait a minute, what's happening? Is the pattern of me trying to control? Is it the fact that I'm like so worried about the uncertainty of this? Because this has all got to do with you. This has got nothing. He will be on his own journey, and a lot of it is like leading by example. You will make the changes, and he will come when he's ready. And he may not do it the same way you're going to do it. And that's why, as part of our coaching program, you both got a fertility coach, and it's not that the fertility coach is on one person's side. We are both your coach. A coach is a couple, and then coach is individual. Although we do all the sessions together, so you can hear what the other person is saying. Because sometimes we may not even, he may feel he has to be strong for you. He may feel he can't really say how he's feeling. He may be just frustrated because you're like on him nonstop. And look, we all know when we get in that rut where we're just picking away, right? And so that's usually, how do we pull back? How do we notice the good in our partner? And what do we need for ourselves? If we're out of alignment, are we meditating? Are we doing our, things that are self-care? Have we said, put our boundaries on? Have we said no to the people of all the requests that we're getting? Are we just simply friggin' frustrated, heartbroken, going through, failed cycles? Usually people have done this for years. It can be just exhausting. And maybe you're just like, I just need someone to like hug me. And a lot of the times when we're picking away, what we want our partner is to come over and like give us a hug or pay attention to us or, love on us kind of thing. And so, doing that quiz, the love languages quiz, because maybe you're like, so for just for an example, for my husband and I'm like, words of affirmation. Tell me I look good. Don't you like my outfit? Blah, blah, blah. Give me words of affirmation. And also gifts. People don't like to admit that, but that's one of the love languages, gifts. I'm like, give me some gifts. That's how I show my love. I like giving gifts. And, but his is physical touch and acts of service. I'm seeing him out there like mowing the lawn, doing the garbage. I'm like, hey, can you do this, do that? It's done like immediately. That's his love language. And I don't even recognize that him, like if I ask him to do something or he's just doing something in the house, that's how he's showing his love. And whereas I'm like, why didn't you say I look great today? Or why didn't you notice me? So it's like, so usually how we display love is how we want it. So it's sort of for me that I'm giving him all these words of affirmation. And he's like, I don't really need that. I want you to come over and hug me. And maybe if if I went away somewhere and you unpack my suitcase, that would be amazing. And likewise, he's like, words of affirmations. Ooh, what's that? So it is to recognize what the other one wants, and to get what you want, you got to give the other person what they want. So that is key. Again, focus on the good, not what they're not doing, because there's many things that you're not doing as well. And it just creates this friction and unease in the relationship, right? Especially when you're both under stress, because you're both, trying to make this work. And so having a coaching team can really help you fast track this, have them call you out on your crap. If you're into the controlling mode, if he's over there in avoidance mode, again, those are sort of some stereotypical ways of saying it, but, to call you out on what is going on there. And so the end thing on that is really lead by example. He'll make the changes when he's ready. And then, so if you are dealing with male and female factor infertility, so we've done a lot of podcast episodes on both of these, actually. For female, we've talked about some of the themes that we see with low AMH and high FSH, premature ovarian insufficiency, diminished ovarian reserve. We see Non-celiac gluten sensitivity. When we do the elimination diet, people have, when they bring back in gluten, they have a lot of reactions. Then we tweak it further with food sensitivity testing. And we see thyroid imbalance in about 99%, 100% of people we work with. There's something going on in the thyroid, sometimes for both partners. And then no one's looked at, they're just myopically focusing on the TSH. No one's looked at a full panel and why that's off, be it, and we're not diagnosing, but either, Hashimoto's, or maybe there's hypothyroidism, subclinical thyroid issues. So it's not the thyroid, it's the liver or the gut that's going on, and taking medication as a Band-Aid. That just, it can be part of the solution. It's not the only solution. You got to look at those targeted diet and lifestyle changes. And so, and then the mental emotional stress of this, right? Most people we work with, they've been trying for 2 years. They've had at least one failed IVF or IUI. And there's been a lot of financial strain. There's been emotional turmoil, and there's health issues going on too. It's not just the fertility; it's other health issues happening, and they're typically still functioning. So it's not like dying in bed and can't get out of bed sort of health, but it's not knowing how poorly they feel until they feel really well. So things they've been struggling with for many years, I just sort of thought, okay, that's just normal to always have headaches. That's normal that I've got, eczema all over my body. That's normal that I have acne. That's normal that my digestion is horrible, that I'm bloated, that I got gas, that I'm burping, like all those things. Those symptoms can be common, but not normal. And so all those are clues to dig deeper. And that is a clue if you're dealing with low AMH and high FSH. And then the mental emotional stress, you may be working, we're working with those type A busy professionals, working, 50 plus hours a week, just pounding away here, sometimes burying ourselves in the work to avoid the pain of what it is we're going through, and having the plan A, B, C, D. Talked about that a lot before, where I'm like, I got a plan for this, which can be good. That's your superpower. But then, how do you, instead of moving forward with that very masculine clenched up plan, and we all have the masculine and feminine energy, how do you kind of get into that receiving mode to be able to receive your child and take the foot off the gas pedal but still move forward? That's key. So we see blood sugar. We talk about this all the time in our team meetings, either having people getting glucose monitors, which you can just grab at a Walgreens to test your blood sugar. Lots of episodes on the podcast about that. And then sometimes you need a continuous blood sugar monitor to sort of see what's happening throughout the day. You can just get one of those on your arm. You can get that through a prescription with your physician. Yeah, and this process can seem overwhelming, right? When you're trying to change all these things from the environmental toxins, the plastics, the personal care, the making sure you're drinking the right water, making sure you're drinking having the right diet. Not sure what diet is right for you, and you do all these generalized recommendations, and you just waste a lot of time. Where if you have a plan like the Fab Fertile method, it can really help you target it so you don't waste time. And then with men, definitely check out the episode we did on how to improve low sperm count, motility, and DNA fragmentation. We go do a deep dive into this. But typically with men, we're seeing thyroid issues, thyroid dysregulation. A lot of men, it's important to remove some of this is for men and women, the environmental toxins like the plastics, the personal care, all those endocrine disrupting chemicals. There's the Dirty Dozen. You can look on the EWG, so the Environmental Working Group, for those Dirty Dozen endocrine disrupting chemicals, which you want to take out of your personal care. And the plastics, the BPA and phthalates, which can impact male and female fertility. So those things, and it's not about running in the house and throwing it all out. It's just gradually making these changes over time, doing the best you can. For men and for women, just don't have the phone on your body. I've done many episodes on EMF, so electromagnetic frequency, and how that impacts fertility and health. Don't put the phone to your head either. That can the radiation there from the cell phone going into your brain. So check out some episodes I did on EMF and then how that impacts your fertility. A lot of men will keep their phone in their front pocket, which you definitely don't want to do. There's actually EMF. They have cases for the phone, so if that's a case, that's an option. You can put that around your phone, so then it won't impact you. But really, not to keep it on your body. And then also the diet piece. Really digging into that diet piece with doing the elimination diet and then doing food sensitivity testing. And then support. So many times men are not speaking about this with anyone. Women are typically joining Facebook groups, or they have an anonymous Instagram profile, or they've told a small circle of friends. Men may have told no one. They're basically, their support system is their partner. Or they might have told one or two, but typically they haven't really spoken about this. There's still a lot of shame, or it's just not something that you're discussing openly. There's a number of podcast episodes I've done on here on the podcast as well about that. So I'll link those two about men and how you can kind of start to open up the conversation. Because a lot of the times, you're stuffing all these things down. There's a lot of pain and turmoil and emotional issues you're dealing with here, and it can impact your marriage and obviously your life. And so getting support on that is key. And so for men, definitely looking at some of those issues. And again, if we see issues with the blood chemistry and the semen analysis, we're going to be diving deeper with some testing. So typically a stool test to see what's happening there. And if we see heavy metals or nutrient imbalances, then we would look at a hair tissue mineral analysis test. So similar to females, we could see people that are well fed but malnourished. And if there's issues going on in the gut, maybe you're not absorbing all those nutrients, which then could be impacting your sperm. So the good news is that, it takes 90 days for the life cycle for the egg to renew itself, and the life cycle of the sperm is 70 to 80 days. So in a short period of time, you can have, see massive change to your health and your fertility. These are complex cases that we're dealing with. So typically an average of more, 12 to 18 months before you start to see some pregnancy success. But these are people that have been told, you're done. Like, it's donor eggs for you. Nothing's going to work. There's been multiple failed IVF and failed cycles, being labeled a poor responder. And then the male partner, maybe no one's even looked at his semen analysis. Obviously, if you've been through IVF, your semen analysis would have been reviewed, but maybe you've been told it's normal, but from a functional standpoint, it's not. So just to summarize, there's, if you're ready to make the changes, you're looking at the blood chemistry, you're doing a semen analysis, digging into the elimination diet, and having, his goals. If you find yourself kind of nagging or like just poking at your partner, like, why isn't he doing this and why isn't he doing that? To lead by example, focus on yourself, see what's coming up for you, some of your patterns. Do you, when you really want someone to come in close to you, do you end up pushing them away because you're focusing on the negative? How do you, look at that love languages? Is that right for you to be able to focus on all the good? Because typically people around us, they're doing a lot of good, right? And when we focus on that, the more of the good that we focus on, the more good will show up. And so that then helps with your stress, and then just helps to relight the fire if the intimacy has kind of taken a bit of a back seat and it's all about baby making. All of that can really help to grow your relationship and get it stronger. And if necessary, therapy might be right as well. And then digging deeper on if you both have if there's a male factor fertility issue and a female factor fertility issue, digging deeper with that, with the testing and some of the themes that we see in there. So if you're ready to take a targeted approach, our Fab Fertile method can really help pinpoint these issues and help you fast track success. So all you do is go to fabfertile.com and click on apply here, and we will check to see if you are a good fit for the program. Lots of success stories of people that have been told, IVF are their only option, and, people with FSH in the 70s and 80s and in a short period of time having it, come down And lo and behold, either they get pregnant, with their own eggs at IVF when they've had multiple failed cycles. People have been told that donor eggs are the only option. They have AMH, below 1, and getting pregnant naturally. So lots of success stories to inspire you. And if it's happened for someone else, it can work for you as well. So that's why taking that target approach, not wasting time with those generalized recommendations that may have been right for someone else. So that feels right for you. You can just go to fabfertile.com and click on apply here. So take care.